Never pay full price for video games again? Go buy your games at g2a.com. Link in the description.
Hey guys, I just wanted to talk about what DayZ needs to become that awesome game that it set out to be in the very beginning. While DayZ currently is a relatively enjoyable game, we're all really playing it for one reason and one reason only: the promise of what it can be. Here's 5 things DayZ needs to have in order to become what it set out to be. Games like DayZ really do depend on the immersion factor. There's something gone wrong in the world and you're there to ride it out. If you're in a scenario that looks like a zombie apocalypse, there should be blood, there should be gore, there should be destruction. You should feel like something has gone wrong. We need to be able to see where the military tried to intervene and tried to help the situation. Like, we want to see the remnants of the military and what they did. So temporary roadblocks, quarantine zones, and if something has gone wrong in a major city, there should be a massive pile of shit on the streets. Dead bodies, body bags, people's belongings, burnt out cars, stuff like that. We want to feel like we're in the zombie apocalypse. Next up is the player density. So with a game like DayZ, you want to have social interaction with other players at regular intervals. The whole game DayZ relies on social interaction. Does the guy that you're looking at trust you? Do you trust him? Do you shoot him or not? Should I make this guy my friend so I can survive longer? Should I not? What should I do? The whole player interaction is the center point of DayZ. Now, we already have a really good rule of thumb. We already know that the original Chernarus was 225 square kilometers, and the server of 60 players seems to be around the golden number for that kind of map. Now, we also know that the Chernarus version in Standalone is about 30% bigger, so it should have a 30% increase in players per server. So that means for the new version of Chernarus on Standalone, you want about 80 people playing at once. Next up, we want scary zombies in numbers. The infected that are currently walking around in Standalone kind of look kind of silly, kind of goofy. They're not really threatening in any sort of way, they're just kind of annoying. But it would be silly just to complain without actually coming with a solution. So what we want is zombies to look pretty fucked up. They need to have their jaw barely hanging onto their face. Their clothes are torn, their limbs are torn off maybe. There's blood coming out everywhere. They need to look fucked up. We want the zombies to wander around town, and we should think to ourselves, do I want to go in there? Is that actually safe? Is that a good idea? What route should I take? Maybe I should clear a couple in my path to actually get where I want. Maybe some zombies look like young muscular men that look really fast, and the other ones look like old women, and you have to make a choice between which one will I use this bullet on, for example. That's actually one more thing that I kind of miss about the mod. There's no zombies on the chopper crashes, so there's no real reason to shoot and attract other players. There's basically just like free loot laying on the ground next to a downed helicopter. Enough about the zombies though, let's talk about the character handling. We have learned so much from games like Arma 3, for example, that have gone the same route, having a good mix between realism and fun to play. Now, the main 2 things that we don't want in DayZ currently is people running at 30 kilometers an hour. That is the current speed of which players run at with full military gear. It doesn't really make sense. Arma 2 and Arma 3 both run at 19 kilometers an hour. Another thing we don't want in the game is an unrealistic way of handling sway. Currently, there's just too much sway in the game. Proning or crouching does not help too much, and it actually should. And on top of that, you're not going to be drawing a perfect helix pattern after running for X many miles. We want the controls of the game to work with us and not against us. And last but not least, we need mod support. Every Bohemia interactive game has done exceptionally well with the introduction of mods. Arma 3 wasn't that popular until the mods really started to develop. Especially the case with DayZ Mod, as DayZ Mod had new mods coming out every week, every 2 weeks, every month, something new to play every time you start up the game. Just simply by switching out one map for another could completely change the way DayZ is played. And we already have a wide selection of maps already available from Arma 2 and even Arma 3. We had maps like Lingor, Namalsk, and Taviana, for example, with Taviana actually being made specifically for DayZ. So there you have it, 5 things DayZ must have to really become that awesome game in the future. Now, as a final note, as the devs have already said, the most progress you will see is at the end of the last 15% of the development process of any game. This is when all the modules and supporting tech is done and you actually see the most influx of content. Now, I do agree with most of you that DayZ is taking pretty freaking long, but I hope in the end it's going to be all worth it. Anyway, let me know what your opinion is on this subject, and hope you guys have a great weekend. And I'll see you in the next video.
I see you.
Oh, what the fuck is this? What? What? What?